Welcome in Sideline Sports Show, episode number 30 here on this lovely Thursday night, afternoon, Tim.
You're still keeping
And
count. I'm impressed, man. I'm
I know,
impressed. I gotta say.
look, I can count. That's a good thing. NGU taught me that much, Tim. But
Right.
glad to have you with us here on this lovely Thursday. Tim, first off, I want to shout out your shirt, dude. Because this
Hey,
dude,
hey,
as a Clemson fan, this dude is literally wearing a Georgia Tech shirt.
in honor of
So
our great sponsor, Section 103, they sent me the shirt a while ago.
there you go.
But,
Look, this is perfect timing, Tim. Perfect timing.
exactly. See, I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional. Okay.
Yeah, there you
See,
go.
I'm close to it, but they sent me this free, and I haven't been able to fit into it for the longest time. I've been getting in shape, losing weight and everything, and I finally felt good enough to put it on and stuff. And I'm like, I feel like I look good, and I want to rep our sponsors, man.
Yeah, but we're not only repping our sponsor, Tim. Our special guest comes from Atlanta itself, and she is basically known for all of her 3-pointers that she drills inside McCamish Pavilion, and it's Sarah Bates as she joins the show. Sarah, thank you for joining.
Hi. Thank
This has
you.
been a 5 month, like I feel like it's 5 months. It's not really been 5 months, but we try to get Sarah on the show for like ever. But it's like what Tim said before the show. It's not like she's a D1 basketball player or anything like that. But we're grateful for you to join the show.
No, I felt so bad. It was like I knew I could have something, and then we end up having a dinner or something. I'm like, I gotta cancel again. But
It happens.
thank you
It
for
happens.
having me.
You're welcome. So let's go ahead and kind of cover because and we were talking before the show. Your story of how you ended up at Georgia Tech's unique. We'll kind of piece it piece by piece. But let's start out in Southern California. From where you're from, you started at what I thought was a JUCO school, but you told me it's a small Division I school. So I'm glad you corrected me on that. And then you ended up at Kansas State. So tell us kind of how that transition kind of worked for you.
Yeah, so I'm from Fresno, California, and I ended up going to UC Santa Barbara my first year, which is like lower Division One. We play like Cal State Northridge, University of Hawaii, Cal Poly, but like people out here don't know where that is. Like they don't know the schools, but basically it's like a beach school, and it's really like my dorms were on the beach. Everything was nice, everything was cool, but yeah, basketball wise, I had a really good first year, and I just wanted to play like Power Five. That was like my goal because everyone said I wasn't good enough to play Power Five. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go play Power Five and see what I can do. So I ended up transferring, and then my only option for Power Five was Kansas State. That was the only school that offered me. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna go there. But yeah, unfortunately, like I had to register that year anyways, and it wasn't the best experience, just basketball wise and life wise. So luckily I got out of there, and I ended up getting an offer here, and yeah, Georgia Tech. So I ended up coming here. They like welcomed me in, and then I got to like be eligible right away, which was great, and then spent the last 4 years here. Yeah, 3 years. Yeah, yeah, 3 years. It's been a while, but
That's awesome. So obviously, when you came in, Nell Fortner came in as well as the brand new head coach. So you're kind of new to the whole program, and then so is Coach Nell Fortner. How did all of that work out as you kind of continued your career at Tech?
yeah, it was great. I mean, I was her first recruit, so that was pretty cool because I came in with her, and yeah, it was just great because I wanted like a real family environment, like family atmosphere, and coming from a place that was an awful experience. I mean, Santa Barbara was great, but coming from K State, I just wanted a good family like atmosphere and a place I could play basketball. So, they just really provided that for me, and luckily, like, I still have a great relationship with the coaches, like, they're helping me, um, because 'cause I'm gonna go get a master's somewhere, and I have another year of eligibility because of the COVID year. So, they're basically gonna go help me find the place, and it's all ended on good terms, so
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Tim. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, I noticed that you talked about that you announced that you were entered the transfer portal.
mhm.
Take us through that decision, or if there's anybody that's kind of in the early lead for your service.
Yeah, I made the decision just because I wanna get a master's somewhere, and, I mean, I had a great experience here, but this was kind of like end of an era for us. Like all my best friends were all graduating or going to play professionally. So it was just kind of one of those things. Like I'm getting to have another free experience somewhere and get a master's. And the COVID year, like I would be done this year if not. So definitely just a new experience. And honestly, I have no idea where I'm gonna go. It's like still wide open. I'm kind of just talking to schools, figuring things out, but probably gonna decide like right after graduation. So like mid-May. Just we'll see. I don't know.
Awesome. Well, there's two more questions I want to ask you. The first one, you took a very, very hard second year at Tech. For you when you had that ankle injury, kind of walk us through that process because you were playing fantastic, probably one of your
Yeah.
best starts that you've had in your career, and then all of a
Mhm.
sudden you have this ankle injury. Tell us how that process was like for you.
Yeah, well, it was hard because first year coming into Tech, I just wasn't really in a very good mental space. So, and we also had a pretty good team. Like there's people already in my position, which I kind of knew coming in, but I just wanted to be in a better environment. So, coming in, like I didn't necessarily expect to play a ton. And the first year I didn't. And that was also on me, just like not. I mean, I really hated basketball at that point, which is kind of hard to say, but just through my experience, like it's crazy that you can just learn to hate something that you've always loved. And so after that year, I ended up just somehow in practice, like getting a starting spot the next year. And I just was playing well in practice. And I was like, wow, like I actually love basketball again. Like I'm in a great environment, great coaches. Like I just like have a love for the game again. And so I was playing well. And then all of a sudden, like, hurt my ankle, and I was hoping it was just gonna be, like, a couple of weeks or a week or 2 and end up being 9 months, which sucked because that basically was, like, the whole year. We went to March Madness, which it was cool to be a part of, but I didn't actually get to compete in it, which was unfortunate, and then, coming back was probably the hardest because it was like I was like, "Trust the process, everything's gonna be fine, like, God's, has a plan, everything," and then getting back into it was really hard because I just was still struggling with my ankle at the beginning of the year, and I was just trying to practice and I wasn't 100%, and like not picking up a ball for 9 months is like, and then picking it up and trying to play like 2 weeks before you start to like have a game is like pretty challenging, but luckily like I found it, you know, I found like my skill again. I was like, where did it go? Like I can't make a shot. And it came like towards I think like probably starting like January was when I really like started playing well and shooting well. But beginning of the season, it was rough. I was just missing everything and struggling, and I was slow, and I
Mhm.
was like, well, I'm just gonna have to keep working. So
And you mentioned your mental space kind of wasn't right. For me personally, I was a baseball player and stuff, and when it came to my career to an end, I got to a point where you said you were hating basketball. I hated baseball. Like I couldn't stand it. It got to a point where I was over it, and it took a couple years before I finally got the love back for the game. Just like it didn't take quite as long for you. For the young athlete out there, do you have any advice for them that they're going through that maybe that mental block and they're currently at that point in their career?
um I would say you just need to be in a space that's gonna like allow you to grow and get better at what you love to do, and it's going to take time, and it's obviously not going to be easy, but I almost quit multiple times. Like I was almost like I'm done. And so for me, I guess it was just being in like a better space just in general helped me to actually find the love for basketball again, because when you're in like a negative environment, it's kind of hard to try to find good things when everything else seems to be going wrong. So I guess just putting yourself around positive people, and I don't know, just allowing yourself to like find the little things, like going up and shooting, or going, having fun with your friends, like going and playing pickup, like little things like that that can help you find that joy again, which is what helped me. But I know it's easier said than done, but I think for me, when I started to see the progression of like I'm actually getting better at something that I used to love to do, was when I really like I saw it, and I was like, okay, I'm getting playing time. Like I really love this thing. Like, but I know it's not easy for everyone to just pick it up like that again. But I just would say don't give up because I think it always comes back around to you.
That's awesome. I mean, because really, like as fans or even former athletes like me and Tim, like we understand how that is, but a lot of people from the outside and looking in really don't see that that struggle that's kind of going off the court. So that's a really good vision
Yeah.
to see. And you mentioned about finding that great space around you, and I can
Mhm.
tell based off the roommates that you have and the teammates that
Yeah.
you have, you find some joy in doing some TikToks every now and then
Yeah.
before some pregames. Is that a pregame ritual for you? Is that one of your
It
favorite?
is. It's one of my pregame rituals, but not everyone will do TikTok with me because it's not their pregame ritual. And so they
Okay.
think that if they do it with me, that it'll mess up their pregame. And I'm like,
Ah,
it won't. I swear it's gonna be good, but I just do them anyway. So I'm like, it's okay.
Now, do you think about pulling a Juju Smith-Schuster and dancing on the opposing team's logo? I'm just.
Listen, if it happens, it happens.
yeah.
But
It
say,
is.
hey, I mean, there's some Tiger fans. If you did dance on that logo, they may fight you. I'm just saying.
I honestly, I'm with it. I'm with the smoke. I want it.
Hey,
If
Look,
it's with
I'm telling you.
the right team, I'm with it.
Look, I think you really could have done it at Clemson because when she went to Clemson, South Carolina, Tim, she literally had 12 in the first half, finished with 17. I mean, I think she was up there
yeah.
for one of the top leading scorers that night. She could
Hey,
have
that's
done it,
kind of
Tim.
fair. Hey, you guys came away with the W that night. I think it all's fair at that point. So
Yeah. But who's the teammate that does not like you doing that the most? I know it's not Lorella Kubai. I know that for a fact. And I'm trying to think. Carter doesn't
So
likes it. I don't know.
pregame, so the one who makes the TikToks with me is Lorella Kubai, but
Yeah.
pregame, she will not make a TikTok with me because
Ooh.
her pregame ritual is like she has to do everything the same.
Okay.
And for me, I'm like go with the flow. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm really not superstitious. Like, I try to act like I am, but I do different things every day. So it's like
Okay.
I might wear the same shoes and I'm like, yeah, I'm superstitious, but I'm really not. So it's just more of like a superstitious thing. And I'm like, it's
Okay.
okay. I'll be like, get in it. I'll like try to put her in the background. She's like, no, I can't. I'm like, okay. But
All
after
right.
the game, take one with me. So
Who's your favorite person to do TikTok with?
low. Yeah, Lorella. Definitely Lorella. Yeah.
Okay. I could see that. I could see
Yeah.
that.
see, Ben, we're gonna
All
have to
right.
figure out how to do TikTok because I
Yeah.
me and the dancing part is just not a good thing.
Listen,
So I mean,
listen,
you have
and
to
you don't
teach me,
always
Sarah.
yeah, we don't always have to dance. We can do
Oh,
something,
okay.
just a little trend. We can figure
That's
it out.
true. That's true. You
I
got
can
to
do
think about that.
that.
Tim.
I can
Yeah.
do that.
As long as you can snap and clap, that's it. Just snap and clap. That's all we need. Yep.
There
I
you
got
go.
it.
There you go.
I got
There
it.
you go.
That's
Boom.
it.
Tutorials by Sarah Bates how to do a TikTok, Tim. You passed stage
I'm
one.
officially a TikToker. All right.
All right, last thing, Sarah. Before you go, you have well, you're technically majoring in business. I'm trying to think, business what? I don't want to get it
Management.
wrong. Management,
Yep.
and so you actually own your own small business.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about that as like your side hustle for college.
Yeah, so I just love fashion and I just started a brand last July and it's been kind of rough because obviously I was in season and all that. So trying to like manage a business, talk to manufacturers, like I can't go through anyone in America, which is hard because of all these shipping problems here and all these like warehouse issues with like not having stuff available. So I'm having to like go overseas, like talk to people, wait like 2 months for stuff to get in and it was really rough, but I guess like at least during the season I wasn't too focused on it. So it was like I was able to like, like try out different things about how I want my brand to be and like all that kind of thing, all that kind of stuff. So now that I'm done with basketball for this season, I'm definitely gonna like lock in more and just like get a few more things out there. I already have like a couple shirts, some shorts, some hats. So it's just like basic stuff right now. But I definitely want to like expand. Like I want to be a full on fashion brand. So
That's awesome.
Gotcha.
All right,
Now,
so
yeah,
where can people find that?
yeah.
Just so we know.
they can find that in my Instagram bio. That's
Sweet,
Sarah Bates.
awesome. All right, and then
Well,
Tim, you got one
yeah, I
last
was just
thing,
want
don't you?
to. Yeah, we can't let you go because the Final Four just happened. And I
Oh yeah.
wanted your thoughts, both the men and the women. Like South Carolina came out in the women's side. Uh, North Carolina should have come out of the men's side, but just I don't know what happened with the floor on Baycott with his ankle. I don't know what happened there, but
Yeah.
Kansas come on that side. What are your thoughts on the Final Four and stuff? That there were some really good games on both sides.
Yeah, honestly, it was so fun to watch. And I mean, okay, so for men, I mean, I'm supposed to hate North Carolina, but I was also supposed to hate Kansas. Like KU, when I was at K-State, KU was like the worst place in the world to us. Like that's how it was supposed to be. So realistically, I did kind of want North Carolina to win just because like I really liked how they were playing by the end of the season. But KU's just, I mean, they're kind of a dominant force. Like it's pretty hard to guard them, and the fact that you can come back from 16, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous, especially in that game. So there was that, and then the women's game. Honestly, like I wanted South Carolina to win. I mean, besides Stanford losing early, but in the championship game, definitely South Carolina, like 100%.
Tim, you know why she says South Carolina? It's because they beat UConn in the regular season. I'm
Yeah,
just saying. I'm just saying.
That's right. That's right. Y'all, I think y'all beat them by like double digits or something like that. It was
yeah, and it's
something
like
like
you
that.
would think I would want them to win, so it would make us look better, but no, just no.
I was torn because I didn't want UConn to win, but I'm a Clemson fan, and I really didn't want South Carolina to win. So it's like whatever for me. Yeah, you know, it was kind of torn.
Yeah, I think it's just because South Carolina hasn't won as many. And like I know a few girls on the team, so it's like they're really cool, like whatever. I really don't know anyone from UConn, but it's just like South Carolina, I don't know. They haven't won as many, and they just play with like swag, which I like. I mean, I just think it's
they had theirs in 2017 or 2018. I can't remember which year, but I
yeah.
know that they had theirs a couple years ago. You know, one was enough. Okay, one was
Yeah.
enough. But anyway, but yeah, Aaliyah Boston, she was practically a dominant force the entire NCAA tournament. That's for sure.
Yeah, and like I don't know if did y'all see the video of like the Sports Center where it showed like last year's game and her crying and like this year?
Yeah,
That
I
just
remember
was
that.
like awesome because I mean, she's obviously not an underdog. Like, I mean, she's a dominant force, but just because people were talking so bad about her, people were talking so bad about like how she missed a layup. Like, you know, you see all these men, and I mean, no offense, but you see all these men in the comments who don't play sports. They're like, how does someone miss a wide open layup? Like, everyone hates women's basketball, whatever. So, like, she just came back and I don't know, went crazy. So I was like, I just love that. And she just seems really sweet and stuff. So
For sure. And
But
one last
if
thing, I got one last thing. Oh, sorry, Ben.
Okay. What if
delay
NC
there.
State? What if NC State or Louisville made it? Would you still went with South Carolina?
Ooh.
wait, are they competing against each other to go to?
No, it's because if I'm correct, NC State would have if they would have beat UConn, I really believe they probably would have made it against South Carolina. Louisville, I think, had to take on South Carolina. If I'm right, am I right, Tim? Yeah. Okay. So what if they? What if that was the national championship? Who would you go with, NC State or Louisville?
Ooh.
NC State.
Okay. Is there a reason why?
That
won't get you in trouble.
I don't know. I mean, I know a couple people on the Louisville team, like Emily Engstler. She's really good. She was from Syracuse, so I know her. But I just know a lot of the NC State girls, and like even though they've won, and it's like annoying because you're in the same conference, and like you don't want to see another team just like dominate. I mean, I kind of like how they play, and I just think they're like a good team. And I don't know, they should have won. They should have beat UConn. I was so mad. I was like, ugh.
Me too. I was so bad.
Especially when they went into overtime. I was like, oh, they're gonna win, and then it just didn't happen. I was like, dang.
Yeah,
But
I honestly had them winning it all for me. My second bracket had Georgia Tech just because I was biased. So they go. So yes, because honestly, y'all had the good region to kind of match it up in, and I honestly thought if Georgia Tech made it all the way to play NC State, I honestly the way y'all came back in that second half against NC State, y'all could have made a run for it. And so that was kind of like my surprise bracket where it's just like, okay, who's my surprise teams? And y'all could have went all the way.
We definitely had a good bracket. Unfortunately, like it wasn't, in the cards for us this year, but we had a good side. I mean, I thought it would be better to play Stanford in the next game than play South Carolina.
Exactly.
Especially after South Carolina lost to Kentucky in the SEC championship. I was like, I do not want to play them because
I
they're
don't
going
blame
to
you.
beat everyone by 90.
I don't blame you at all.
So yeah.
All right, Tim, did you have something else? I'm sorry. I
I want to know. I mentioned it earlier about the Baycock with North Carolina. Do floors usually do that? Because they came out and said that there was nothing really wrong. And I'm like, we all see the video that the floor comes off the ground. And is that normal? Because I don't think that is.
I don't think so, but I know like since a lot of those floors are like they put them in there, you know what I mean? Like it's not like it's just built there. Like they I don't even know how to explain it. Like you know, like those big arenas where they just like put the tile in or I meant the flooring in. So whenever you dribble on those floors, it always feels like there's like a hollow like part underneath it. And I always hate playing on those floors because like they hurt your knees, like they hurt your ankles, whatever. So the fact that he already was having an ankle problem and then it looked like it came up, I was like, okay. And then people were trying to say it didn't come up. They're like, it was just his ankle. And I was like, it kind of came up. Like,
I think the video says otherwise with the thing literally coming off the floor. But
exactly. But
I don't know.
Yeah.
And was it? Have you ever played on a floor like that? I know, and was Greensboro, North Carolina, like that at times?
Yeah, it is because you definitely like, and there's like we'll dribble around and find like the hollow spots, which like basically if you don't pound the ball, it's like the balls might like roll away because some of those spots, like if you don't dribble super hard, it's just like the ball doesn't come right back up to you. So
that's interesting. All right, Tim, you got anything else? Or are you good?
That was it. I love talking ball, man. I'm sorry. I love talking
that's
ball.
true. Hey, I don't blame you. Well, Sarah, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Now, look, anytime you want to come back on the show, please feel free. Even if you transfer, we will still be glad to have you on.
Wherever you go next, I'll wear their shirt. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do the same. Yeah, we'll do the same. So sweet,
Yeah,
awesome. That's Sarah Bates. You're welcome anytime. That's Sarah Bates. Thank you for joining us again. One last time. Thank you, Sarah. We appreciate it. You're welcome. All right, that's Sarah Bates, Tim. I mean, there you go. I mean, fantastic.
It was funny. You said she was coming on the show, and then I saw on Twitter that she was transferring. I'm like, oh, all right then. So this is going to be an interesting interview, but I was fun. I loved it. It was awesome, and she was great about it. And, just glad to talk ball anytime you can.
I think it's interesting to see it from a different perspective because I think when we see it, it's just like, oh, we see it from like a former athlete sort of view. But when you don't get into somebody's shoes, I love how she mentioned the mental health issues and stuff like that. Because I feel like a lot of college athletes kind of go through that, and like a lot of people don't see that. And I think it was a really good perspective for her to put into perspective as a actual D1 athlete, explaining how that kind of goes on for her. So we're super thankful to have her on the show.
Yeah, and she put it into perspective. I mean, she talked about the mental toughness side of it, moving from, like we're up here, just hating basketball at one point to finally finding the love for it again. And that can be tough, especially when you have plans that you go to a Big 12 school that don't work out. You go back across to California and UC Santa Barbara. Then you go all the way across country to Atlanta, Georgia. That could be tough. That could be a lot, not really getting to meet a lot of teammates and get to know them very well. And that can be very tough. But, it was interesting to hear her perspective on that and how she dealt with it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the men's and the women's national championship game, even though we just talked a little bit about it with Sarah. We're going to go a little bit more into depth when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back in Sideline Sports Show here, Ben and Tim. We just got done talking with Sarah Bates. Fantastic. I mean, fantastic interview. We'll have it up on the podcast land tomorrow. If you're on Twitter, join us on Facebook and YouTube. Go check that out because you can actually comment and leave questions for us if you have any as we talk about the two national championships for both men and women's college basketball. So, Tim, let's go ahead and start with the women's since we just got done talking to Sarah Bates. We talked about it a little bit. UConn took it on South Carolina. It looked like it was close for a little bit, and then South Carolina just kind of took control. Tell us what's your thoughts on about the women's game.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Boston it's just too much for UConn, man. She's been dominant all tournament long. They played tight defense just like they have all season long, you know. And as she mentioned, they lost to Kentucky in the SEC championship game. You didn't want to play them in NCAA tournament, and boy, was that true. I mean, they rolled through that thing. I mean, did they even really have a close game in that tournament? Really, really, truly. I can't really think one.
I don't know.
I think they won both. They won the Final Four and national championship game by double digits.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was never really any kind of concern there. And I saw today on ESPN that the Atlanta Dream actually got the first pick in the WNBA draft through a trade. So Leah Boston may be making her way to the ATL.
That would be fantastic. That would make my year for Atlanta sports because Leah Boston is literally just phenomenal. I mean, you look, and it's just like Sarah Bates said earlier. You watch that team, just how it played throughout the year. She was the main leader of that team. So to have her be a leader of the Atlanta Dream, sign me up. It would be fantastic. But it's like you said. I mean, you go back. I mean, really, what felt like the national championship in my mind, like a national championship game, was that UConn NC State game because it was so close. It went down to the wire. Paige Beckers was on fire for UConn. But I mean, that felt like a national championship game to me. South Carolina eventually taking control of UConn felt like it was obviously going to happen, but it never felt like a national championship game to me in my mind. That's just my opinion.
It kind of speaks to how dominant they really were, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true. And I think the other thing that people were like, oh, well, I didn't like the women's tournament that much. I think there wasn't as many upsets as the people thought there were going to be. Because honestly, you go back and look, there wasn't as many upsets. I think when Baylor went down in the women's tournament, I think that was probably the biggest upset of them all. And then I think NC State and UConn was probably the second biggest.
Well, Creighton, a 10 seed, got all the way to the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
Took on South Carolina, right? Yeah, that was something.
Yeah, Creighton was probably the Cinderella team of the whole thing. So I mean, the women's tournament was really good. If you didn't get to watch it, I honestly watched more women's basketball this year than I almost did men's, really, because it was just that good all year long. Especially in the ACC. The ACC was packed with a lot of teams that were talented. Georgia Tech was up there. NC State was up there. Miami was up there. North Carolina was up there at times. There was just a lot of dominant teams within that ACC. And then watching that SEC tournament, especially with South Carolina and Kentucky kind of going down to the wire and eventually Kentucky winning that game, it was really, really fun to watch. So, I mean, going back and looking, this really season for the women's sports was really, really fun to watch, Tim.
It really was, for sure. I mean, both sides really and truly, the tournament was great all around, both men and women. So,
yeah,
overall entertaining. So, but yeah, I want to transition this time now to the men's game. Like, I mean, what did you think of North Carolina being the one that ended Coach K's Duke career at home, and he ended his actual career in the NCAA tournament when they met for the first time?
So first off, I want to give a shout out. Kamen Rucker, who I know very well, got to sing the national anthem before the Final Four. Fantastic job representing North Carolina. Kudos to him. Fantastic job. But that game, I don't know how Coach K could retire, Tim. I really couldn't. Because let's be real. His very last home game loses to North Carolina. His very last game of his career, Tim, loses to North Carolina. I don't know how Coach K could go out like that. As a coach, personally, I could not walk out like that. Like I could not.
Yeah, that
be
would
like,
be tough. But the problem is they've gone through all the trouble in which that they've already got a coach in waiting. He's already technically, I guess, the head coach now since the season's over with. You've already had him in recruiting. I don't think there's any way possible. I mean, again, a lot of those guys are going to be one and dones going to the NBA draft this year for Duke. I mean, I'm with you though. I'm coming back, but like I think you could tell in Coach K's talk and the way he was talking.
Yeah, he was done.
In press conference and stuff. He was just like, "Yeah, I'm ready to spend time with family." Because I mean, he's not a young man anymore. He's definitely getting up there in age, and I think he realizes it's time that this rivalry in Duke basketball definitely needs the next step, and the next rivalry in the Duke UNC needs some more coaches or some younger coaching. So, and I think Coach Capel's going to do that, and I think that Duke will be in the right direction. Again, my sad to see Coach K go. Yes, because the legendary coach. He's a legendary coach, but he gave a lot of trouble to our team's been. Georgia Tech, he has the most wins against, and Clemson second most. So against any opponent. So, but otherwise, man, just a historic career. And I do love Coach K, the man. I think he's a great guy and stuff. But I think unfortunately he's not going to get the write off into the sunset. But a winner. Yeah. But it's still nonetheless in a historic career for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. And then let's move to that next game. North Carolina advances, and they play Kansas. Yeah. Tim, I'm going to be honest. By the time a halftime hit and they were up, I want to say it was 42-25, I think, was the halftime score. I was like, man, North Carolina's got this in the bag. So I went and I took a shower, came back, and I see that Kansas has brought back that 16-point deficit and has tied it up. And I said, you got to be kidding me. And then Kansas finishes out that game. Unbelievable. And it's like you said, I think you can't really say the floor played the biggest factor in that game when UNC only uses 5 guys the whole game. I mean, really. I think total players, they use 6. I really do. Only 6 players have minutes.
That's crazy. I mean, when you got something good and you write it, but injuries can happen if you do that. Unfortunately, it happened in the last 2 minutes, under 2 minutes to Baycott, who really, truly, I mean, they're down by 1. Who knows what happens? He looked like he was going to get fouled. He was going to go to the free throw line. Maybe he makes both. Maybe he makes one. Either way, could have tied it or taken the lead. Next time, Manic, the guy that looks like a caveman, to be honest with you. Great player though, but they're able to back down on him with ease. They're not able to do that easily on Baycott, and I'm not so sure that they're able to get that bucket that gave him some insurance down there at the end. So then you had that weird run where the Kansas Jayhawk stepped out of bounds and allowed North Carolina to draw up a play. Hubert Davis, I'm sure that play he didn't call to be executed just like that, to be an air ball. But that's ultimately what happened, and Kansas comes from behind, down 16 in the first half to win their first national title since 2000. How long has it been? It's been a good while.
I don't know. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a good while. But I will admit, when I saw it at halftime, I was like, man, this is done. But the way Kansas came back in that game, and I think it was really cool because Sarah mentioned this a little bit. Going back a year ago, Aaliyah Boston was crying and was upset. Yeah. You go back, and I saw this crazy statistic, Tim, that the 2 teams that were projected to win it all in the year of 2020 before the March Madness tournament got canceled were the 2 teams who won a national championship this year in March Madness. How crazy is that? South Carolina was projected to win in 2020, and Kansas was projected to win in 2020 as well, and they both win national titles 2 years later. I think that's a storybook right there. Like, the guys from Kansas even said, he was like, in that 2020 team, because they were seniors, he was like, in that 2020 team, we had something special. We knew like we could go all the way and we could win it all. But then when the tournament got canceled, it kind of upset us. And they said we had a goal since then to go back and win it for that 2020 class. And they said this is for that 2020 class that never got their national championship. So kudos to them. I mean, they did a fantastic job.
Absolutely. Definitely getting that hardware for the teams and seniors that were unfortunately had to see their careers or at least their NCAA careers come to an end in an unfortunate fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Tim, is there anything else? I think that covers it all.
Covers it all. We got a little opening day action today,
Yeah, that's true. I was about to, that was my final question before we left. Who hits it? Yeah. Who hits the first home run of the year?
I saw it ESPN notification, but
for the Atlanta Braves.
Forgot.
For the Atlanta Braves. Yes, for the Atlanta Braves.
I'm saying, who's batting leadoff then? Is it Ozzie?
Yeah, Ozzie's batting leadoff. Matt Olson's second.
I'm calling it. You know what? I think Olson does it on a 1-0 count in the first inning.
Okay.
I'm getting specific there. 1-0 count. He puts it into the chop house.
Man, There we go. He's even calling Chop House. Oh, okay.
2-run. I'll go 2-run shot. I'll go 2-run
Okay.
shot.
Okay. So Ozzy gets on and Matt Olson hits a home run. I'm gonna go, and I said this before we even joined on the show. I have witnesses. I'm gonna go with Matt Olson, as my home run guy. I think Austin Riley could be a good runner up. Because I think he's hitting fourth or fifth. But my sleeper that no one's gonna talk about is Marcelo Zuna. I think he could hit one as well tonight.
Yeah, he returns a lot. It'd be interesting to see because we all know the allegations and stuff that he dealt with a year ago. He was handed that 20-game suspension that the commissioner deemed he had already served. So it'd be interesting to see the reception he gets in Atlanta tonight.
Yeah.
And did you see the comments that are supposed Acuna said but didn't say about Freddie Freeman?
That was my last thing I want to talk about. It was the
strange.
craziest thing I've seen this week. Okay, that and I should make a graphic, and that's what we should do every week. The craziest thing, and that's how we should end the show every week. Tim, is the craziest thing I saw this week. That was
2022. There's something crazy every week, maybe even every day.
Exactly. Ronald
Course we're
Acuna
not.
goes on an Instagram live with a guy I've never even heard of in my life. He's from the Dominican Republic. Okay, so that's probably why I haven't. But I guess he's like a sports writer or something. Anyway, he's on Instagram live with the sports writer and claims that he did not have a good relationship with Freddie Freeman. Even in the season where he kept getting plunked, as he put, by the Miami Marlins. And he was just telling him, shake it off, like da da da. So basically, he's saying that him and Freddie Freeman never had a good relationship. Tim, do you agree or do you disagree with this? Or do you think, and do you also think what Ronald Acuna said was wrong to say, or do you think it was fair?
Well, I mean, I don't. I'm confused because he later came on Twitter and said, "I didn't say that."
Yeah,
So
but
it's just
obviously there is. He said it because there's translated.
Yeah, and it's just like what is happening here? It's like so it's going to be interesting. Freddie's probably thinking, goodness gracious, like I y'all treat me like this as soon as I'm gone. That's to me, it's not a great look. I think people need to kind of move past it, move on. Freddie did a lot of great things for the Braves organization. I have his jersey. I still have his jersey. I got to figure out what to do with it.
Me too.
But it's time to move on. We embrace Matt Olson and everything. We thank Freddie when he comes to town later this year, later this season, and give him his World Series ring, and we applaud him. But now he's part of the enemy. That a part of a loaded enemy too. So I think we just need to move past it. I wish Ronald wouldn't have said it. I don't think it's very. I don't think it's very tasteful. I don't think that it makes him sound very immature, in my opinion. But it is what it is. If that's his opinion, that's his opinion. That's nothing you and I can change about it. But I think both of us agree that this Braves team needs to move on. It's tough because he was so beloved. But you know what? He's in Dodger blue now. We've got Matt Olson, who, barring anything crazy or him just being an absolute bust, we've got a great first baseman for the next 7 years. So I'm looking forward to it. And it really does make things interesting because who do the Braves go to in the fourth series of the year? The LA Dodgers in LA.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting. Very, very early that we see him in LA. I'm hoping tensions aren't high, and I hope this isn't a drama thing. I think both teams just need to kind of move past it. Thank Freddie. We got a World Series ring with you. Best of luck to you, in your future endeavors and wherever you want to go in your 6 years in LA. And we'll ride with our guy.
Awesome. Well, that's all for today's show on the Sideline Sports Show. Make sure to go and follow all of our social media platforms, Sideline Sports Show, for everything except Twitter at Sideline SP Show. That's where you'll find us on Twitter. But everything else, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and YouTube is all at Sideline Sports Show, or just type in Sideline Sports Show. And then finally, if you want to be like Tim, head over to Section 103, get your most comfortable T-shirts that you've ever had in your life using your 10% off code Sideline at checkout, as Tim will be our model for the day for our sponsor, Section 103. He's repping the Georgia Tech shirt. I will admit, I'm very proud of Tim for wearing a Georgia Tech shirt, even though we don't beat Clemson in anything other but basketball, baseball. Let me think, what else? Probably tennis or golf or swim and dive or something like that. But
wait, we got you in softball though.
You see, I didn't say softball. I
But we
said
got
baseball.
you in softball. We got you in football. Baseball, it's kind of, I guess, whenever we're home. When we're away,
Yeah.
y'all dominate us. But
Yeah.
when we're at home, we got you.
Yeah. So, but shout out to Tim wearing Section 103 gear today. All right. That's
Hey,
going to do.
sponsors. I will do whatever it is I need to do. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
Come
That's
on,
true.
hit us up.
Yeah, absolutely. And then make sure if you're listening on the podcast, come check us out on the live stream Thursday night, 6:15 Eastern Standard Time. I think a lot of people get that confused. And it will be live stream on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube every Thursday night. And then if you want to listen to the podcast or you barely listen to any of the show live, go check out our podcast. Just look up Sideline Sports Show, and it's all right there. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts. I think that's even a thing. I don't know. But it's all podcast platforms.
I don't know how all of them, but I know there's a ton of them.
Yeah, that's right. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Sideline Sports Show.
I gotta go work on my allergies, man. Jeez Louise.
I know.
Yeah.
Look, enjoy opening day. Go Braves, and we will see you all next Thursday night for another edition of the Sideline Sports Show.